Please welcome to the stage Comptroller Susana Mendoza.
Woo! How we doing today? Good morning. It's great to be here with a room full of awesome Democrats. Let's hear it for the Illinois Democratic County Chairs Association. For Christina and Dan and all of you who purchased a ticket to be here, who are in this room helping elect Democrats from the top of the ticket all the way to the bottom. I love you. Thank you. I have a very special thank you to start off with, and that is to my husband, David Sostak. Where are you, honey? I saw you somewhere over here. There he is. And my little guy, David Sostak, who's not so little anymore. He's 9 now. Yes. But I will tell you that Big David is truly the unsung hero in my success, which hopefully means Illinois' success in the role as your controller. Thank you, honey, for being that incredible rock of support for me, for doing it all, not just the things you'd expect a husband to do at home, but I can't afford to hire him on the campaign, so I had to definitely marry the guy, you know? But all of you chair people yesterday would have met him when you were collecting our swag, and he really, truly is the best, the absolute best. And I have an incredible team, and I want to say thank you to all of my staff at the Comptroller's office and all of my staff on the campaign side. We are trying to run our campaign the way we run the office, and that is super awesome. Now, I will say, listen, we have such great news to talk about from the Comptroller's office, and that means when you're knocking on doors out there, we've got great story to tell about the success under Democratic leadership here in the state of Illinois. Back in 2015, when I first met many of you and asked you to give me your support, to please give me your faith and trust in your vote, and to go out and work hard to elect me, I promised you that if you gave me a chance to serve as your controller, that I would not be afraid to stand up to Bruce Rauner, that I would take it to him, and I would fight out of my weight class every single day. Literally fighting to save our state, right along with you. And that when that big bully would punch down at me, I would, metaphorically speaking, kick him in the groin with much joy and pleasure. And I did exactly that every day, every day. And it wasn't just about beating Bruce Rauner and taking him down, which he's now Florida's problem, thankfully. It was about fixing the state's finances, fixing the damage that he had done to our state. And when I think about a $16.7 billion backlog of unpaid bills, with a B, $16.7 billion, it's not just a number on a spreadsheet. That symbolized the millions of people who went without critical services in the state of Illinois. This coming from a governor who cut autism funding on World Autism Day. Right? You can't make it up. This was who Lord Voldemort, also known as Bruce Rauner, was. But millions of people who lost critical services, thousands of businesses who struggled just to stay alive, many who did not make it. Because this guy who called himself pro-business was making the average vendor in Illinois wait 210 business days to be paid. That's 9.5 months in real people time. And I don't know anyone who could provide services with their business, or if you showed up to work, did the work, but didn't get paid for 9.5 months and think that that's okay or you could survive. But that's what he did to our state. So let me just start by saying to Governor Pritzker, what a difference a governor makes. What a difference. Thank you, Illinois, for sending me a partner that I could work with in our government. But you sent me to clean up the finances, and that's exactly what I've done. That $16.7 billion backlog of unpaid bills that meant people were hurting in our state, it is gone. I've eliminated it. Goodbye, adios, never to be seen, hopefully, again in this state. As of today, we have a working accounts payable of $2.2 billion, down from that 16.7 monstrosity to $2.2 billion. And what does that mean? That means that long gone are the days of 210 days of waiting to get paid by this state. My oldest bill today is 11 days old. 11 days. way, I paid down that bill backlog over a year ago before getting a penny of federal ARPA stimulus dollars in the door. Before a penny of it came in. So when you hear all those negative Nellies out there talking about how we, of course, fixed our state finances, because they have to acknowledge they're much better, right? But they say it's because of a government bailout. Now, I do want to thank Senator Durbin and Senator Duckworth, our heroes in Washington, and all of our Democratic congressional delegation, because it wasn't a single Republican that voted to send Illinois relief when we most needed it for COVID. But the ARPA dollars have been incredibly helpful to Illinois, but it's not what we use to pay down our bill backlog. And that is a message that I hope all of you take to every single door when you're out there taking credit for the hard work of the Democrats that you sent to come fight for you. We have a message of success. It's the Democrats that got it done. We should never be prouder than we are right now at the amazing results that Democrats delivered for Illinois. And as your controller, I'm going to leave you with this. You know, I promised you all, besides taking down Bruce Rauner and doing my part to do that, cleaning up the state's finances, that what that would mean would be increased credit ratings for our state. Because before I took office as your controller, in the 2 short years before me, that guy earned 8 consecutive credit downgrades. During the best economic bull market in our lifetime, 8 consecutive credit downgrades. It is hard to be that bad. But if there were a prize for the worst governor ever, that definitely would be that guy. Having said that, fast forward, I promised you a credit upgrade, but we didn't stop at 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5. We now have 6 full credit upgrades. 6 full credit upgrades. Did I mention in the middle of a global pandemic? There is nothing we can't do here in the state of Illinois when you have Democrats in charge. Yeah, Democrats! And thanks to Governor Pritzker and the Illinois legislature on the Democratic side, because again, we didn't have a single Republican vote for this, we now have $1 billion deposited in our state's rainy day fund. $1 billion! You know, I had less than $60,000 in the state's rainy day fund when I took off as state controller. Less than $60,000. There's more than that in this room. $60,000, less than that. We now have $1.036 billion, but who's counting? Your controller. So we're going to keep growing that because it's not enough. And when you hear people out there say, well, Illinois has $1 billion in the rainy day fund, why do you have so much money? That's too much. Let me put this in perspective for you folks, because we can't stop until we at least have $3.25 billion. Why? Because the median, the average amount that all states in the nation have in reserves is 35 days. 35 days. Even at $1 billion today, that covers about a week's worth of expenses. So when I tell you we need to get to $3.25 billion, that gets us about 7.5%, when most states have an average of 25%. So it's significantly lower than where we need to be, but that would be enough for us to be able to weather future economic downturns, and we need to put more money into stabilizing our pensions. Because when people say, when the naysayers out there say, well, let's, redo pensions, or let's cut benefits, let's do those things, I say, hell no. Let's keep our promises to our pensioners. And how about we just pay our pensions? We not skip those payments, and we put more money into those pensions, which is what this governor and this legislature, the Democrats, did once again. $500 million above the $1 billion we put into the rainy day fund towards our pension stabilization fund. And I have legislation that will do even more. So we're going to keep rocking this boat, keep making sure that our state's boat is moving in the right direction, that this fiscal stewardship continues, and the only way we do that is by re-electing this awesome Democratic team, including our new candidate for Secretary of State, Alexi Giannoulias. So thank you so much for your trust, for the privilege of being able to serve you. And I will tell you this, when I was asked by colleagues in other states, how was I so calm as a controller during the worst pandemic to hit our lifetimes? This virus that has cost so many people their heart when they lost their loved ones. And I always worried about the health aspects of the virus. My brother, he almost died from it, and his life will never be the same because of it. And as controller, when you have to order things like come up with the money to pay for ventilators and all the PPP, it really puts things in perspective. But also, let me tell you what else put it in perspective for me from a financial side. I was never worried about the finances of this state, even during the darkest days of the pandemic. Because when my colleagues in other states would ask, how do you seem so calm? I would say, well, it's easy. The worst virus to ever hit Illinois' finances wasn't COVID. It was Bruce Rauner, and thank God we now have J.B. Pritzker. So thank you for your hard work. Let's go kick some serious butt. You guys with me or what? I want to hear Democrats say